We have a very exciting show for you here today on the Great Scots Roundtable because we are reuniting the cast of a film that I was introduced to many years ago when it was first in the theaters. That film is The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry.
For three best buddies, the summer of 1970 was shaping up to be the best one yet.
I think I'm gonna ask Tanya out. Dustin's in love. Dustin's in love.
There was just one problem.
Where you going there, Dustin?
The town bully.
He bosses people around and picks on whoever he wants.
I'll take this one.
Come on, Nick, this is our pizza.
It's my turn to play.
Come on, Nick, let him finish his game.
Here.
I wish he was on another planet.
Now, a chance meeting.
I've seen you in our church many times, haven't I?
You're Mr. Sperry, right?
Jonathan Sperry.
With the most unlikely ally.
It's Nick. This is the bully we've been telling you about. Better hide the pizza.
Will change everything.
If your enemy takes a piece of your pizza, offer him two.
From director Rich Cristiano comes an inspiring story about the bond of friendship and the power of faith.
Everything in the Bible is there to make our lives better.
Gavin McLeod.
The Lord is always with you.
Jansen Panettiere.
I don't think I can do this. What if she says no?
Frankie Ryan Manriquez.
You're love blind. I just like her, that's all. Then you're like blind.
Alan Isaacson.
If I were you, I'd go back down to the diner and try to talk to her.
Taylor Boggin.
So Dustin is the old timer.
This is our good friend, Mr. Sperry.
Bailey Garno.
Is there something you want to tell me?
And Robert Guillaume.
Do you know who Jesus is, Mr. Barnes?
What kind of a question is that?
The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry.
My friend said to me, you know, you could do a reunion of The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry. To be honest with you, I honestly thought that some of the people who were involved in The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry would be out of my reach. I honestly thought there would be no chance that I could get the cast of that movie together. Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways. What can I say? Today we are here with several members of the cast of The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry. And I'm going to introduce you to them one at a time. You could never do a reunion for The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry if we did not have Jonathan Sperry. This is a gentleman who has a very impressive acting resume. His career spans more than decades, and most people would probably remember him best as Murray Slaughter on the Mary Tyler Moore Show or the captain on the Love Boat. But to me and everybody else here, he will always be Jonathan Sperry. Please say hello to the one and only Gavin McLeod. How are you, sir?
Hey, Gavin. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that introduction. I hope I can live up to it.
I'm sure you will. Now, like I said, you can't do Jonathan Sperry without Jonathan Sperry, and we've got you here. However, Gavin, I must tell you something. If you go by the letter of the law with screenplays, technically, Jonathan Sperry is the title character. He's technically not the main character. The main character would be the person who goes through the dramatic arc, and in the movie, you mentor a young man who is cutting your grass. And this gentleman is an actor who, at the age of 26, has an impressive acting resume. His films include The Perfect Game, Ice Age, The Meltdown, The Martial Arts Kid, and the Nickelodeon film Last Day of Summer. He played the role of Dustin. Please say hello to Jansen Panettiere. How are you, sir?
Hey!
Nice little applause there for yourself. Very nicely done. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Now, Dustin has two very close friends. They're kind of the three musketeers of the movie. Sadly, one of them couldn't join us here, but in my opinion, we got the funnier of the two. No disrespect to Alan Isaacson. But this gentleman had a very prolific acting career as a kid, appearing in shows like The King of Queens, Blue Collar TV, and That's So Raven. As an adult, he's moved on to music producing. Would you please say hello to Frank Manriquez? The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry is, of course, a story between Jonathan Sperry and a whole bunch of kids in the neighborhood. And for a movie that is full of kids, you actually only see one parent. And that parent is played by an actress whose credits include The Last Castle, Sweet Home Alabama, Gallows Road, and she played Mrs. Sharp in the film. Will you please welcome Mary Jean Bentley? How are you, Mary?
Good.
Good. And I heard that some people call you MJ. Is it okay if I call you MJ?
Yes, it is. That's short for Mary Jean.
All right. Now, of course, once you film stuff with all of these actors, somebody has to put all of this together. And we have the editor of The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry here today. This gentleman is a very sought-after editor in the Christian film world. He's got more than 27 editing credits to his name, including 4 of Rich's 5 feature films. Mr. Jeffrey Lee Hollis. How are you, sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you.
Very
Good to
nice.
Good to see everyone.
And last but certainly not least, very prolific Christian film screenwriter and editor Sean Paul Murphy, who has been on my show before, referred to this guy and his brother as the godfathers of Christian film. And to be honest with you, I couldn't agree more. His previous credits include Time Changer, Unidentified, A Matter of Faith, and the upcoming Play the Flute. The writer, producer, and director of The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry, Mr. Rich Cristiano. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you doing this.
Oh, no problem. It's nice to have you back here. How did The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry come about? I know you wrote it with your brother Dave, and I think you even told me that Gavin getting involved was part of when the script was getting developed. So why don't you please tell our viewers about that?
Here's how this came about. I had an idea, and it was just a simple idea. I want to do a movie about a 75-year-old man living in a small town that starts talking to these 3 12-year-old boys to motivate them for the Lord using his wisdom. But that's all I had. And I remember when we were shooting Time Changer, which is where I first met Gavin, and I started thinking in my mind, Gavin MacLeod would be really good in this role. So when we were shooting Time Changer, I took him out to eat one night, Italian, of course. And I said, Gavin, I got an idea for a movie about doing a movie about a 75-year-old man living in the year like 1970 who starts talking to these 3 12-year-old boys. And Gavin looked at me and he said, do you remember what you said, Gavin?
I think I would say it today. I'm too young for a character. Right?
Yes. Who's going to play the old man? I said, you. And we left it at there. Now, I'm going to bring Jeff in because after we did Time Changer, when we were getting ready to release it in the theaters in 2002, we did some behind the scenes stuff for TV and television to promote the movie. And Jeff and I and Gavin went out to Red Robin. Jeff, you remember this better than I do, so you pick up for a second.
Well, the three of us went to dinner, and people kept coming over to Gavin and asking him, hey, you're Gavin MacLeod, and he would go talk to them and everything. And then when that calmed down, Rich, again, Gavin said, "What's next?" And Rich kind of pitched The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry in more detail, and Gavin said, "I'm in. Let's do it." And then Rich was really off and rolling at that point, I think.
So when I started writing the script, the easiest guy to write was Jonathan Sperry because I can just envision Gavin saying the lines. So what I did is just wrote scenes. For example, I wrote a scene which referred to as the cemetery scene. That's the first scene I wrote. I know we needed a conflict here, so I brought a bully into it. So I wrote the scene where the bully meets Jonathan Sperry for the first time. I wrote the ending. I knew I was going to end the movie. And I remember I had 32 pages, and I sent it to my brother and says, "This is all I have." And so my brother Dave looked at it, and he gave me the first 16 pages, and he brought the element of Tanya into the movie where he had Dustin and Albert and Mark walking downtown, and Dustin kind of likes Tanya, and he brought that into the script. And so when he sent it back to me, it was now 48 pages, but because my brother started that Tanya storyline, I was able to finish the draft. But that's how the idea came. And it took probably over a year, because I don't work on scripts every day. I just work as I feel inspired. So that's how that story came together.
Now, obviously, you said you had Gavin from the get-go, but one of the things that we want to find out is how the rest of the actors that we have here got involved. Right. Rich, I'll let you take the lead, and Jansen, Frank, MJ, you guys can jump in here when you want if you want to add anything to this.
All right, so when we went to casting, I worked with Beverly Holloway, who was our casting director, and initially we were casting the kids as 14-year-olds. And we found somebody that could play Albert, and I found somebody I thought that could play Mark. And we couldn't find Dustin though, and a guy by the name of Luke Benward came in, and Luke had done a movie called How to Eat Fried Greens or something, I forget what it was called, but he read for Dustin. He was very good. And so we were going to cast him. And the very next day he got a Disney movie and we lost him. So I had no lead. And so Beverly called in Jansen Panettiere. And I will never forget the first time I'm talking to Jansen, walks in, he's 12 years old. And I feel like I'm talking to a 20-year-old. I mean, this kid is smart. And he's talking to me like I'm an adult, and we had a good little conversation. And he got up and he hit those lines, and he walked out. I said, "Bev, we got a real problem. That kid's fantastic, and he's not going to match these other two guys." So we brought Jansen back in, and we had the older Albert and the older Mark, and it obviously did not work. So Bev says, what do you want to do? I said, we got to lose the two guys. This Jansen kid is fantastic. To me, he's the kid. And it's funny because I had envisioned Dustin being somebody else. And this is something I always tell the actors, lots of times the actors will say to me, how do you want me to read this? And I'll say, whatever you think is best, because their interpretation may be better than mine.
Right.
So as I watched Jansen play the part, he was going to be our lead. And so Bev says, I got an idea. So who does Beverly call in? Frankie Ryan Manriquez. And when we put those two guys next to the other, they were Heckle and Jekyll. I mean, they were just the perfect match. You couldn't have matched it any better.
Heckle and Jekyll, you guys got anything to say about this? Do you remember any of this?
Maybe that's not the best illustration. Do you two guys even remember coming in and auditioning for this film? Jansen or Frankie?
Yeah, I'm talking, Jansen, Frankie, we're talking to you guys.
Gosh, I remember Beverly Holloway casting. It was nice. There was a little atrium in there and kind of chill out and do your lines. I don't remember going in for the audition, but I think I remember meeting Frankie at the hotel, and then we went swimming and became best friends.
Frank, do you have anything to, you didn't say? Do you have anything to say about this process?
Do you remember the audition, Frankie?
Slightly, yeah, I do. Honestly, I remember pretty much what Jansen said. I remember slight bits and pieces of meeting her and doing the casting of it and trying out. But yeah, other than that, I think my first memories were going to the super nice hotel that we stayed in New York. That's where the memories start to begin, I would say.
Just so our audience can see these two guys, we're going to take a second. We're going to show you the very first scene of the movie. We will see interacting between Dustin, played by Jansen, and Albert, played by Frankie.
What are you stopping for? I'm getting a little nervous. How come? I don't know. He's in love, dummy. I am not, Mark. Come on, let's go. Wait, I need to know if she's there before we go in. You said she's helping during lunchtime all summer. I mean, I think she is. She's been in there 3 days in a row, so I'm just thinking she does. Her dad's the owner. She's in there. Let's go. You go look first, just to see if she's there. This is stupid. I do it for you, Albert. All right.
Now, let me tell you how Dustin's mom got cast, Mary Jean Bentley.
Yeah.
And maybe she
jump
can
in,
tell
jump
the
in
story.
here, Mary, if you want to.
Does she actually want to tell the story? You flew to Rochester, New York. Gavin was there, and you did the audition between Gavin, myself, and
yeah. Well, I got the Chad Gunderson, who you were talking about earlier, who produced this with you. He actually called me up and said, "Hey, I got a great opportunity for you. I think you'd be perfect. But here's the kicker: they're only hiring local hires." And I had just so happened to be in Virginia. So I was on the East Coast at the time. My mother was having heart surgery. And so I was by her side and she was all better. And Chad calls me and says, "Hey, you should fly up for the audition. You're really close," because I was in Northern Virginia. And I'm from Texas. So I was much closer than I would have been if I were in Texas. So I said, you know what? I'll do it. I'll fly up there on my dime. So I flew up just so I could meet Gavin, right?
Yes.
And I had no idea, but apparently Rich wanted Gavin in there for my audition.
It's always good to get assurance, and so after you left the room, Gavin says, "Rich, you're dumb if you don't cast this girl. She's fabulous." That's his favorite word, And of course I did cast MJ, and so that's how she got in the movie.
One thing that I think that is kind of a given when you're working on a movie is that, things will go wrong. And one thing Rich told me was the first 2 days of this shoot was supposed to be just the boys walking around town to kind of get the crew acclimated to the environment and working together. And then Gavin was supposed to come in. And on the third day, you guys were supposed to shoot the scene where he's giving all the kids lemonade. But it ended up raining those first 2 days and the filming was completely shot. And so the very first thing that you all had to film was the kids drinking lemonade with Gavin, and the crew had never worked together before. And so that was day one. And not only that, but Mr. McLeod, I'm told that getting to the set was a little bit of a chore for you as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I flew in from LA to Chicago, and I was very excited about going to do this film because I loved it from the get-go, and to work with Rich again was just an honor. And so we're landing in Chicago, and we hear we're not landing. There's a big storm, and we have to land someplace else. So people were screaming and carrying on. But we managed to land. We landed, and I went to check for my next flight into Rochester, and they said nothing will be leaving from this airport this evening. So I'm there wondering what to do. I'm by myself, and two people came up to me and they said, "Aren't you so-and-so?" I said, "Yes, I'm him." And they said, "Well, we're going to Rochester. It looks like we have a lot of time on our hands. Would you like to have some company? You're not by yourself." I said, "Thank you. I think God sent you to me." And so we got into a cab to go to the Hilton Hotel downtown. And the cab driver got out. A cop came over, and he said, "We hear you want to go to the Hilton." And we all said, "Yes." He said, "Well, it's right there. It's a tunnel. You don't need this car." And he didn't speak English, the cab driver. So we went through this tunnel and wound up in the Hilton Hotel. So there were no rooms to be had, and we weren't going out until the next day, any flight. And so we managed to eat there, and I looked over, and there was Mr. T. If anybody's familiar with Mr. T, he's a fabulous guy, and he just loves the Lord so much. And he and I go way back, and I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm waiting to go to LA." I said, "I'm waiting to go to Rochester." And so these people were going crazy meeting Mr. T. And so we had the whole night to kill, and so the people say, "We're going to go into the, we're going to go back to the," I said, I don't want to go back. So I'll just sleep here on the floor. So I slept on the floor of the entrance to the hill. People were doing it all over. There were no rooms. And what were you going to do? And I'd rather do that than go where there were too many people. So the next morning they were going to fly, and I went to where the flight was to bring me into Rochester. And people start going, and they call them, and they call them, and they call them. And there's one, I said, "Oh my, I'm not going to be there. Rich, what's going to happen? We have to shoot." And I was the last one called. So I had the last seat on the plane, and I finally made it. So God got me there. And the next day I ran into Rich. I said, "I'm sorry, my voice is a little husky because I've been sleeping on the floor of the Hilton Hotel at O'Hara Airport." And that was the beginning of it all. And then I met the boys, and I just have to tell you tonight, just seeing them as young men, it's very emotional to me because I feel very close to them. Of all the pieces I've done, I've been acting since I was 4 years old, and I'm going to be 90, as I told you. And I've been blessed to be able to do the things God has given me to do, but nothing has ever affected me more than Jonathan Sperry, and to work with these young people. And here they are, and they're so beautiful. And I just, seeing them on camera, it just has been very emotional to me.
Would you like some more, Albert?
Oh, sure.
It's good, isn't it?
Yes, it's very good.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
I made it myself, you know.
Thank you.
And Dustin.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. You had 3 glasses yesterday.
No, this is enough. He's too busy thinking about his new girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
She's not my girlfriend. You wrote her a note. So that doesn't make her my girlfriend. Her name's Tanya.
Tanya.
Albert. She's a girl in our class that works at the diner. Her father owns it. The problem is that Nick likes her too. Quiet, Albert. Nick's a bully. Quiet. I told him I thought it was a mistake. Albert, will you be quiet? What am I doing? You talked. I was just telling.
So, it's a delicate situation, then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Jansen, Frankie, you guys got anything to add to that? I mean,
I'm crying over here.
Yeah, not that you could. I mean, that's pretty hard to follow follow right there. But was the scene where Rich was talking about where they had to shoot that scene first? Was that the first time you guys had met, Gavin?
I just remember whenever we all did meet, it was literally like a family, and it never felt awkward or weird. It was literally just so. Yeah, it was really, it clicked right off the bat, and I remember really looking up to Gavin and just he was a great example and like a father figure the whole time, and it was almost like he was living out his character in real life. It didn't seem like that transition from, okay, he's a character, Jonathan Sperry, and now he's Gavin. Like he is Jonathan Sperry. That's who he is.
Amen. Yeah.
It's a blessing because, for most of my career, I lost my hair when I was young in college. And so you go to New York trying to hit things. So I wound up playing drug pushers and killers and heads of mobs and things like that. To finally play Jonathan Sperry is one of the gifts of a lifetime. And
for the record, Gavin, when I had to put together your intro for this thing, I picked the two pieces that most people would remember you from because your resume is so long. I was like, oh man, how do I say? There's no way I'm going to mention. There's no way I'm going to be able to mention all these. It's quite impressive. Just real quickly here, I thought that we could maybe.
Okay, Scott, I want to throw something out for a second.
Go right ahead.
To follow up what Gavin said, and
Go right ahead.
Jeff can chime in. Frankie and Jansen. See, these guys were young. You two do not realize how good you are in this movie. You just don't.
No.
Jeff, do you want to comment on that? Jeff's an editor. He's seen tons of actors.
Right.
You want to make a comment on these two guys' performance in this movie?
Well, sure. I mean, I've done other films with kids, and it's a little dicey sometimes. And when I first saw the footage come in of these guys, these two especially, I was like, wow, you really, because when he said he's going to work with 3 kids, I'm like, oh no, boy, you better get good kids. And these guys are professionals, man. The editor knows who the best actors are, who hit every take. And you have 4 amazing actors right here that they nailed every take. I don't remember even them flubbing at all. They're so professional, and they gave me so much to work with. So fantastic job, guys.
There was one person who we never got a chance to invite because he's sadly no longer with us. And that, of course, is the gentleman that everybody will forever know as Benson, Mr. Robert Guillaume.
Who's there?
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
I would like to mow your lawn.
Mow my lawn?
Yes, sir.
I don't need my lawn mowed.
No, sir, you don't understand. I want to do it for free.
For free?
Yes, sir.
Nothing's free.
Well, this is, sir. I really want to mow it.
I said I don't need my lawn mowed.
Jansen, you did, I think most of Robert's scenes in the movie were with you. Do you remember anything about working with him?
Very pleasant guy, very sweet, very Christian. I remember a couple of the scenes that we did when he came into my house to tell me to keep reading my Bible. He cried several times during his takes, and you could really see that whatever this movie really cut into him very deeply, into something that had happened in his life, or several things, and it was kind of eye-opening to see at that age, something that I wasn't fully aware of at the time, how impactful this film would actually be. And it's something that I'm seeing much more now, but when I was younger, I don't know if I really knew what I was looking at.
I remember that, Jansen. I remember that scene.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you. You were in that scene as well. You got anything to add to that, MJ?
Yeah, I remember he kept choking up, and we'd have to cut, and he would have to, start again. And I remember looking at Jansen thinking, he's 12 years old. I wonder what he's thinking about all this.
Well, I talked to Robert about it because it was hard for us to get the take we needed, and we did use a take that does show some of his emotion, but some of it was way overboard. And what he told me is he kept looking at that 12-year-old boy who didn't have a father, and he says every boy should have a father. And I said, Robert, I wish you would have told me that. I would have put the script girl there so you could have played the scene to her. I would have got Jansen out of there. So, obviously Robert had a stroke. So if you see how he walks and how his hand is, that's how he actually was, which obviously just added to our movie. And it was really a good opportunity for him to display his talent. But I just can't envision anybody else but Robert. I mean, there's other actors that could have played that role, but he was just perfect. I mean, just to be able to work with him. And like as Jansen said, he was a quiet, gentle guy. I mean, Robert was not a boisterous person at all. And I think he was thankful for the opportunity to do some acting. I always say this, actors want to act, right? And I think he was happy to be there.
Actually, Rich, you just said something that reminded me of something. Again, not on the talking points, but I have a very trigger-happy memory. I'd always wondered, and maybe this is the best time to ask you, I'd always wondered, Dustin in the movie, he only has a mom, and then he ends up getting mentored, by, Jonathan Sperry. Did you purposely make the character not have a father for that reason?
Yes.
I wondered about that.
I didn't, because they would say, why isn't the father mentoring and stuff? So I wanted, the whole idea was to try to motivate senior adults that their life can still have an impact. Life doesn't end at 75. And so I purposely just made him a single parent. Where a lot of families are single parents these days, right? So,
well, and back then, Rich, we had the war going on, so I could have easily lost my husband in war.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
You don't actually go into it much. I think the only time Dustin mentions where his father is the very first scene. He's cutting the lawn for Mr. Barnes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jeff, I have a question for you, just real quickly, if you don't mind. This is an editing question. This is something I've always wondered, and I thought of this after Rich told me that Robert and Gavin were never on the set the same day. But I think there's at least 4 or 5 shots where they're supposedly looking across the street at what each other's doing, and obviously they were just being good actors acting to nothing. So I mean, when you get footage like Rich, I think you told me that Robert was on the set the last couple days of the film, and there was like a gap in between when Gavin left and when Robert showed up. So do you get notes like, okay, Robert's supposed to be looking at Jonathan here? How does when you get can you speak to that process just a little bit?
Yes, when you shoot a film, you have what's called a lined script, and it's literally lines drawn through the script, and it says, here's the take 38A cutaway of Barnes, and you might shoot that on a different day because it's with Robert Guillaume, and then you shoot the other thing with Gavin a day earlier or something. But the notes are all there on the script, so I know exactly, the 38C is my Robert Guillaume cutaway, and it's all very well organized. That's what a script supervisor does. They make the line script, and the editor really needs that. Otherwise, I'm going, where's the shot of Robert Guillaume? I don't know what to cut to.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing, one kind of interesting thing. First of all, Jeff was saying, that he couldn't believe that you were going to do a movie with this many kids, and you also have a movie with kids in it where they're eating a lot. I mean, Frankie, how much chocolate cake did you actually eat in that take? Or were you actually? Were you high on sugar after that or something? Because I noticed none of the other guys actually got anything. You were stuffing your face in that one scene.
We were all stuffing our faces. Me and Jansen went through 10 of those things probably. We were eating it, and when they weren't even rolling the camera, I remember constantly eating that cake because I love chocolate cake in real life. So I was all about it.
I can't blame you.
The kids would be amazing because we would start pretty early in the morning, for the crew. We'd be there almost like 6:30, and so we would shoot for 6 hours, and we break for lunch. Mm-hmm. So the kids would go eat, and then after they eat, they go out to the field and they're throwing the football around and running around. It's like, we're gonna get this energy. I mean, we're dead already. We gotta go shoot for 6 more hours, Now, plus, one thing. Go ahead, Gavin. Go ahead.
Since we're talking about food, I would just like to say I applaud the caterers of all the food I've eaten on movie sets. This was the best. And that's one way to keep a group happy. The food
was
terrific.
His name was Rob, right, MJ?
I remember the caterer. I played golf with the caterer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. We use him here in Texas.
The editing room food was terrible.
Good
I
one.
want to take that up with your wife, Jeff.
Yes, I'm getting to the next question. I love how Rich. Every time I do roundtable, Rich.
Go to the next question.
Like a true director. Yeah, move on to the next question. I know. Oh, incidentally, before I move on to the next question, I shared this with Rich last night. Frankie and Jansen, you might find this kind of interesting or entertaining. I assume you know what Internet Movie Database is, right? Okay, good. Yeah.
IMDb, Jansen.
IMDb. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And
got it.
there are people. There are people in this world with nothing better to do than point out, continuity flaws or acronyms in movies and stuff like that. Well, The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry has a grand total of one mistake, apparently. You guys want to know what the one mistake is? Apparently, the pinball machine that Nick is always pushing you guys off of, that brand wasn't invented until 1973.
Oh,
It's in a movie that takes place in 1970.
Oh,
Someone with nothing better to do with their time researched that and found that out.
oh.
Shame on you, Rich.
Let's
Shame
go
on you.
reshoot it.
That's funny.
CGI. We'll do CGI.
All right.
We'll fix
Moving
it.
on. Keep it going here. I'm sorry. I'm just having so much fun. What can I say? Either that or I'm high off the sugar from the chocolate cake I'm eating. I don't know. All right.
Blue.
What I thought we would do right now is as Rich and several other people have pointed out here several times, it's been 13 years since this movie was shot. So I thought maybe we could go around and you guys could all tell our audience what you're all doing today. Mr. McLeod, why don't you go first?
Well, I have the least to announce probably because I'm in a retirement home and I still work for Princess Cruises. That's been like 34 years. We've gone from 2 small ships to 20-something major ships. We have a new one coming out soon. Just came out in Italy. They've been working on it for 3 years. Which is very surprising to me because of my age and all that, but I get so much fan mail. I mean, I thought it would end after my series was over, but it seems like the Love Boat is in more countries now than it was. We're in 94 countries than it was when we went off. I'm getting mail from countries that I didn't even know even still were there. So I have that, and I try to also bring in some spiritual inspiration to these people that I write to, because I think that's why God has given me the success, if you want to have it, but made my dreams come true. And to think that my kids are all healthy, doing what they want to do with their lives, and my grandkids, we just are so blessed, and I never stop thanking God for that. And in fact, I just sent something off this morning to a wonderful family who happen to be believers, and I send in the Jonathan Sperry booklets that Rich had made up at one particular time with the book of John. And I send this to people when I can tell from the writing that maybe they could use a little encouragement and realize that Jesus is the answer for it all. And so I take that opportunity. I think so. It's opened doors for me. This movie, which I did in my later years, so they really exist now, has really become the reason I think I was born. Everything else has led up to this, and to get the word of God out there and show how God can change your life and give you a purpose if you recognize him as the Son of God, that every moment is rewarding. I'm in a place here with over 250 older people. Most of them are widows. And it's a wonderful place to be able to talk about God to these people. And that's what I do. I think that's why God has got us here. As a matter of fact, for the first time, we've been under quarantine since March. But tonight, in a couple of hours from now, we're going downstairs to have our first dinner out of this house. Since this started with a man that lost his wife, who we used to have dinner and pray with before the coronavirus hit, and then she died. He's here all by himself, and he's a dear man. We ran into him the other day, and he started to weep, and we had a chance to comfort him. And so we're having dinner with him tonight. This is a big deal to be used that way, because when we talk about how I relate so much with Dustin when he was young, because I lost my father when I was 13. And so I never had anyone in that supervising kind of role to advise me and tell me, except for school people. And so I know how vacuous life can be without a father. And so I've tried to be a father to my own kids, and now I'm like a grandfather or a papa to many, many people. I'm very grateful for every moment, and to see these young mentions, these kids. Do you ever go to Andy Warhol's studio when you're in New York? Do you ever go down there to see his artwork at all?
Actually, nice
Maybe.
segue. Why don't we?
He
Yeah,
would love that.
yeah. Nice segue, Jansen. Why don't you go next? Because I know that you're an artist now, correct? What have you been up to these days?
I paint. I paint every day, and I paint for like 8 hours a day generally. And it's a major escape for me, and I'm able to let my inner demons have a stage to play on that is cathartic and financially rewarding to some extent. And that's I'm lucky. I fell in love with something. And
I
a
actually
lot of
saw
people
some of your
don't
work on
get to
Instagram.
do that.
It looks very good. Would that be the best place for people if people want to see some of your work? Is there a place they can check it out?
Sure, absolutely. If you Google me, or if you're on Instagram and you type in JRPANETTIERE, so JR Panettiere, you'll see some art, but in my bio there is another link to a different Instagram, and that's my art account.
Awesome.
It's called Art Pylon. But enough about me. Frankie's making music.
Yes, Frankie. Yes. I love how you're each segueing to each other here. This is very good. Yes. Talk about that, Frankie. Actually, do you prefer Frank or Frankie? Because you're.
Thank you, Jansen. No, Frank. Either one's fine.
And we have Frankie.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm segueing you next, Sperry. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So I make music now. My name is Band-Aid. That's like my artist name, but it's spelled differently. It's spelled BANDADE. And so I make music under that brand. So I'm also writing for other people too. So I've been, like Jansen just said, I found something that I really fell in love with, and I'm really blessed to be able to use that platform to hopefully glorify God and let that be kind of like the foundation of why I do what I do. So
is there a platform where people can hear some of your work?
Yeah, you just type in my name, Band-Aid, into Spotify or anything, and you can find it there.
All right, awesome.
Very.
Yes.
But so what I'm doing now is I run a studio called Fort Worth Studios, because I'm here in Texas, and we do movies with a message, and we do documentaries, and I also teach at our church. I teach the 6th graders in Sunday school. So I'm really passionate about what you were saying, Gavin, about just giving back to the youth.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Rich, I never told you this, but anytime somebody asks me, Scott, why do you like the movie The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry? I say 3 reasons. I cut my grandparents' grass every week during the summer. I was bullied as a kid myself, and I love pizza. So that's so I find the movie very relatable. So
it is. It's timeless, Rich. It's timeless, and it's a good tool to show kids.
Yes. With that, Mr. Hollis.
I paint for 9 hours a day. I make music and documentaries in a rest home.
And in case you didn't figure it out, he's also moved into stand-up comedy. Is that right?
I do stand-up comedy now. But right as we finished this film, I started a 6-year stint at NBC. And then I've been at CBS for 7 years. I write, produce, and edit promos, which are like type of commercials for various CBS shows. Like I'm working on Big Brother right now. And that's how I pay the bills. But working on Christian projects like this is how, I pay it forward and I tell people about the Lord, and it's really a blessing. So, yeah.
Working for CBS is your tent making, right?
There you go. Exactly.
And look who just popped up here. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you?
Tanya. Bailey Garnell played Tanya.
Hi, everyone.
I was just getting to it. Thank you very much, Rich. How are you, Bailey?
I'm doing well. How is everyone doing?
Good. Well, actually, this is perfect timing because everybody was just talking about what they've been up to since the film. So since you just got here, why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
Cool. Yeah. Hi. Oh my gosh, this is so great to see everyone again. It's been so long. Yeah, so I'm in LA now, which I've been in LA for a little over 5 years at this point. I moved out here right after school, and I'm working in music. I'm at a music licensing company called APM, and I'm actually licensing music for movies and shows.
We might pop in a quick scene so you can see the first time that Bailey, who played Tanya, the first time we see her in the movie, it's a scene where Albert and Dustin go in to talk to her with Mark.
Hey guys.
Hi, Tanya.
Hey Tanya. What can I get for you?
I'll have a hot fudge sundae.
Okay, 1 hot fudge.
I'll have a banana split with 2 strawberries and 1 chocolate.
No pineapple syrup?
No, I don't like pineapple.
Neither do I.
Dustin. Oh, I'll get a hot fudge sundae too.
Okay, coming right up.
What are you doing talking so much with my girl? What do you mean? You know, talking to her about the pineapple and stuff. You talked to her more than I did. Someone had to.
Bailey, do you have anything that you would like to quickly share before we go to what's going to be the last question here?
I mean, I would just say that the experience on set for this movie was, you know, really lovely and enjoyable, and everyone was so kind. You know, as someone that, you know, really wasn't familiar with film, being on set all that much, I'd only been in one project previously, and I was telling Rich I actually haven't done any acting since. It is so special, you know, like not everyone gets the opportunity to work alongside such amazing people and such a cool setting. And I remember in particular as a kid really enjoying costumes that, you know, the period piece kind of, you know, gave us the opportunity to wear. So yeah, it was many years ago, but my mom fortunately memorialized a lot of that in a photo album that I still have and I still look at pretty frequently, actually.
All right.
I do want to say this too. Gavin and I have talked about this film a lot, and I have kept him in touch with what's going on. I haven't been in touch with the actors as much, but you guys just don't realize how this film has touched lives and touched hearts. And it's partly because of your performances. You guys were young, and you don't realize what you did here. I mean, I'm so grateful and thankful for what you guys did for me. You know, I'm not an actor, and so I need my actors to pull off the roles. And, you know, it's Jansen in particular, because it's an honor to be a lead in the movie. There's only one lead. And if your lead's no good, your movie's no good. I don't care how good everybody else is. If the lead's no good, you got no film. And, you know, and I put a $900,000 budget in the hands of a little 12-year-old kid named Jansen Panettiere, and he must deliver. I know Gavin's going to deliver. I need Jansen to deliver. And you did, my friend. I'm telling you, Jansen, you are so good in this movie. You are so good. And we've captured you and Frankie and Bailey. We've captured you guys for history at a young, innocent age. I realize life throws things at us, and you guys have moved on with your lives and you understand. But hopefully there will be a day, years from now, where you'll sit and watch Jonathan Sperry again when you were a little kid. And you guys really pulled it off, boy, and I applaud you for it. And this film has a lot of life left. In fact, probably now today, because of the digital network, more people are seeing this movie today than have ever saw it.
Rich always starts a film by saying you got to please the Lord first. And then if you please the Lord's going to use your film. And the Lord has used this film. He doesn't need us. The Lord doesn't need us, but he lets us be a part of it, and we're blessed to be a part of it.
My experience on Secrets of Jonathan Sperry was so new and different from what I had experienced prior to that, because I've been on, you know, large movie sets, but little bitty parts. But when you talked about the rain, I remember the whole set, like, going down on their knees praying, like, okay, we need sunshine today, and we got it. And I was like, I remember repeating that story to people years later, and I said it was the most blessed time.
This has been very special. The movie has always been special to me. It reeks of honesty and of God, and that's about the best I think you can do in this industry. I thank God for blessing me to allow me to work with all of you where he has. and I think the lighting on my picture here sucks. So if you don't mind, I'm going to wear some hair for the first time and be a little warmer. I don't know. Everybody has beautiful colors, and why don't they do something in this joint? Anyway, I love you all, and I remember your parents and your families and things from that experience, and especially that food on the truck. Rich, love you, Jeff. Great work, and it's nice to be with you, great Scott. And that's the best waitress in the world, former waitress, smiling at us right now. Thank you very much. What an honor I've never done this kind of a thing, and it's never over till the fat lady sings, I suppose, and there's a lot more to do.
You know, when I was on this film, I was a diehard atheist. And then years later, coming back to it as a Christian and really knowing what that means and knowing the power and influence that Christ's consciousness can have in your life. It makes this movie so much more of a time capsule and something just almost impossible to grasp. Something very special happened, and I got to be a part of it, even though I didn't know I was a part of it. So I'm very grateful for that.
I just wanted to say that first of all, I think this whole thing is really, really cool because I haven't seen literally any of you guys since literally the day we left. I mean, I think maybe we saw each other when the movie came out, but that's pretty much the same thing because we were so young. But I just think that it was really cool because it didn't ever feel like we were shooting a movie. It felt like a big family, and like I genuinely do remember that. I remember doing everything with everybody, and it was just like a big hangout. And then when it was time to work, it was time to work. But like even the work was fun because in between scenes we were just being ourselves. It didn't feel like we were ever like, acting. So it was a great experience, and it was really fun to be able to go across the country for 6 weeks as a little kid and just hang out in the summer. And I hope that we can all keep talking and it's not another 14 years or however long it's been until we talk again. So yeah,
I would echo what Frankie was saying. From my time on set, it was many years ago, but I do remember getting to know everyone, cast and crew, and again, just the kindness, the fun that we had, and yeah, I'm just very grateful to have had this opportunity and grateful for this moment now. So cool. Never thought that we'd be back here kind of doing this. So I very much appreciate Rich, you creating a space for this to happen. I think it's fantastic.
I just want to finally say to my actors, I love you guys. And I'm going to try to keep those big fat residual checks coming. But Gavin, first of all, this project started with you, Gavin. Without you, I did 2 movies with you, Time Changer. And your performance in Time Changer, Gavin, is flawless. I've told you that many times. You're so good in that movie. And then for you to do Jonathan Sperry, a totally different character, and just play him, bring him to life. There's been so many people that have been encouraged by the Jonathan Sperry character. I think I want to be like Jonathan Sperry when I get older, and you've said that many times. But it started with you, Gavin. The fact that you did the movie just gave it instant credibility. And just, again, you young kids, when you guys were young, but Jansen, Frankie, Bailey, just a pleasure working with you. The one thing about shooting movies with kids is kids like to goof around. That was our only issue. Whenever we had them by themselves, they were great. But when they're all together, it was just, but you guys are
universal disagreement with that. They're all shaking their heads no, Rich.
Yeah. No. You guys, from my vantage point, you guys are always special to me. You're like celebrities to me because you brought the movie to life. And, we're so passionate about our films and we distribute it every day. I've lived with this movie for years and will continue to. Never, I'm looking at the little slogan on the DVD and it just says it all. It says, what he teaches them will last forever. And that's the thing about this movie. You know, this movie does have purpose. You know, people have come to know the Lord and received eternal life because of this movie, because of your performances. So hopefully that gives you a sense of reward. But thank you guys for doing this. It meant a lot to me. I know it meant a lot to Gavin. And to Jeff Hollis, who edited this movie. And Jeff works for about 20 cents an hour when he works with me. You know, the way we edit, I let Jeff edit the scene any way he wants, and then I come in and make the changes that I want to see. But the advantage is Jeff always does things that I never think of. So we get a better movie that way. And Jeff put in the hours and the hours and the hours to pull this together and did a super job. And he's edited 4 of my films. And we have an excellent, I just want to pay homage to Chad Gunderson, who produced this movie with me. We love Chad. Jasper Rando, who did the music, he's outstanding. Matt Waters, who does the sound design. Stephen Kujay, who did costuming. James Cunningham, who was the production designer. And Philip Hearn, who shot the movie. We love these guys, and they did a super job. So thank you, everybody. We thank Scott for putting this together. And, you know.
Well, you know what's interesting is that I should say, as I sit here hearing all these stories, I just kind of say to myself, you know, how the heck did I end up the host of something like this? Because I'm a low rent magician from Massachusetts who has 3 IMDb credits. Who
Scott can use anybody, Scott.
Yeah, you want to know what these round tables are? I tell people this all the time. These round tables are the lemonade I made out of the lemons that is COVID-19. This is I just started doing them, and Rich's movie Unidentified was the first one I did a reunion for, and I didn't realize how many people were going to want to do them. And someone here, I won't mention who, asked me, you know, what's the purpose of doing this? Well, you kind of all just saw it, because you know, reconnecting people and seeing all you guys be so happy to see each other again after all these years is what I get out of this by hosting these. So thank you very much for being here, and I think that we'll say to all our viewers, thank you very much for watching, and check out The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry.
ChristianMovies.com, and here comes the trailer. Good to see you, everybody.
For 3 best buddies, the summer of 1970 was shaping up to be the best one yet.
I think I'm gonna ask Tanya out. Dustin's in love. Dustin's in love.
There was just one problem.
Where you going there, Dustin?
The town bully.
He bosses people around and picks on whoever he wants.
I'll take this one.
Come on, Nick, this is our pizza.
It's my turn to play.
Come on, Nick, let him finish his game.
Here.
I wish he was on another planet.
Now, a chance meeting.
I've seen you in our church many times, haven't I?
You're Mr. Sperry, right?
Jonathan Sperry.
With the most unlikely ally.
It's Nick. This is the bully we've been telling you about. Better hide the pizza.
Will change everything.
If your enemy takes a piece of your pizza, offer him 2.
From director Rich Cristiano comes an inspiring story about the bond of friendship and the power of faith.
Everything in the Bible is there to make our lives better.
Gavin McLeod.
The Lord is always with you.
Jansen Panettiere.
I don't think I can do this. What if she says no?
Frankie Ryan Manriquez.
You're love blind. I just like her, that's all. Then you're like blind.
Alan Isaacson.
If I were you, I'd go back down to the diner and try to talk to her.
Taylor Boggin.
So Dustin is the old timer.
This is our good friend, Mr. Sperry.
Bailey Garno.
Is there something you want to tell me?
And Robert Guillaume.
Do you know who Jesus is, Mr. Barnes?
What kind of a question is that?
The Secrets of Jonathan Sperry.